What is your American dream?
I'm from China, and my American dream is to do the works I intended to do in this interesting place and communicate with other people from all over the world.
I'm from India. My American dream is to enjoy this inclusiveness and freedom of America and have fun while it lasts.
I'm from New York, and my American dream is for everyone to be able to make the most of themselves.
I'm from Belgium. The American dream for me, for living in New York, would be ideal to have a house that looks nice but is not too expensive, and work in Manhattan, have a major salary, to have a bit of money at the side for health insurance, because you never know, you might get into trouble.
Everyone has a right to the American dream.
Groundhog Sam! Hey there, Brad Squad! It's your favorite internet mascot, Groundhog Sam! Boy, do I have a story to tell you! I experienced an earthquake and an eclipse right here in the Big Apple. I mean, us groundhogs can predict an early spring, but an earthquake and an eclipse really were not on my radar. There I was in my favorite tree, minding my own business, and the next moment, whoa! Whoa! Brad! Where are you, Brad? But don't worry, folks. I rode out the quake like a pro and everyone was okay. And if that wasn't enough excitement, I then witnessed the mother of all celestial shows, an eclipse. The sky turned bright and I popped on my eclipse glasses and watched in wonder as the earth moved between the sun and the moon. Amazing. Well, that was really cool. All right, time to go get a pretzel. But enough about me and my adventurous week. You know what time it is, right? It's time for the moment we've all been waiting for. It's time for Brad Show Live, starring the one and only Brad Bernstein. Enjoy!
Well, hello there, everybody. It is Brad Bernstein. That's my name. I'm an immigration lawyer. I do this little show called Brad Show Live, where I answer your immigration questions. We talk a little bit about immigration and have a little fun as well. What's happening? Thumbs up to everybody. Let me say hello to the Brad squad. Saying hello to Katie. Saying, hey, Brad. Maureen McFarland, squad up. Steven Niziki. Saying, hey, Brad. How are you, Steve? Hold. Hi, Brad. My wife made. There's got to be more to that than that. Hold. Angela Higgins saying, hey, Brad. Tanique Evans, squad up. How are you? Tanique Sunny saying, hi, Brad. Squad up. Eid Mubarak. And Latoya, his Forever Peterson, squad up, everybody. Donna Thompson saying, hi, Brad. How are you? Shar Tone Brown saying, hi, Brad. Can I apply for my 18-year-old? It's a pre-schmooze question of the day. Can I apply for my 18-year-old? His parents are still responsible for him, and he's a student. His siblings are younger, and we're planning to theirs as well. Can I apply? His parents are still responsible for him. He's a student. His siblings are younger, and we're planning to theirs as well. Well, I assume you can apply. Apply for what? Are you saying apply for a green card? I'm not sure what you're applying for, Shar, so I would need more information. And hold, getting his immigration question back now. Maybe it's a little more available here. And what hold is saying is, hi, Brad, my wife made 2021, $32,000, 2022, $12,000, 2023, $31K. Would I still need a co-sponsor? Am I good to go? It's counselor processing. It depends on how many people your wife has dependent on her tax return. If she's just alone and it's just you and her, that should be good enough. Car Brown saying hello, Brad. Jackie saying hi, Brad. How are you? And Jessica Bellini, squad up my loves. Chartone Brown saying a visa. My apologies. You're going to apply. She's now going to apply for a visa for my 18-year-old. We as parents are still responsible for him. He's a student. His siblings are younger. We're playing. I mean, yeah, you can certainly try. What's the worst that'll happen? They'll say either yes or no. And Dion Reed saying squad up to all Brad Bernstein, awesome team. Bless up all squaddies. Wagwan. Wagwan, Dion Reed. And Stephen Neitz. Hey, Brad, my friend crossed the border by mistake, and his case is still pending in immigration court. What can he do? Crossed the border, I guess, from the United States to Canada. Didn't realize and was coming back, I presume. I would need to know a lot more about that, Stephen. Let's see if there's any other pre-schmooze questions of the day. And we have a pre-schmooze question from Jay Love. Hello, Brad. What happens if my U.S. citizen husband passes away before I file for my green card during my green card process? Or what if I pass away during or before the green card process? Well, if your U.S. citizen husband passes away and he's already filed for you, the case converts to a widow petition. If he hasn't filed for you already, then you have 2 years in which to file a widow petition. If you pass away, well, then that's the end of the case. There's no other person that's included on your case other than your U.S. citizen filed for you. There is no other case if you pass away. And let's hope that doesn't happen. Andrew Lopez, hi, I got a green card from VAWA. When can I apply for citizen? After 3 years or 5? My ex-wife was a green card holder. Then it's going to be 5. If you got a green card through VAWA based on marriage to a U.S. citizen, then it would have been 3. We're going to take 2 more pre-schmooze questions. Brad, I had TPS, and unfortunately I traveled to Haiti without a travel authorization because I had an interview at the U.S. Embassy in Haiti. It was for F4. I aged out. Is there a way I can come back? Cliff, you got big problems. The only way you're going to come back is through humanitarian parole, so you're going to need to apply for that immediately. And Sonny, if I want you to look at my case, make it stronger, can you do that? I can make it stronger, Sonny. I can. My son did an I-130, I-485 concurrently, but I was told my evidence may not be strong enough since his mom and I divorced in 2011. As long as he's your son and you had a relationship with him before 18, doesn't matter if you got divorced from the mother. But Sonny, you can certainly call me and we can certainly look into it. And let's see, are we live? We are live on Brad Show Live. We are not live on Real Brad Bernstein. Let's see, are we live on Brad Show Live here? I was going to say hello to people. Nope, I'm not live on Brad Show Live either. Supposed to be on Instagram, but I guess not. I don't see it at least. All right, maybe we are. All right, if we're on Instagram, hello, Instagram. All right, let's see what else we have here. Anybody else to say hello to? Tamar Palmer has some questions. And Jill says, yes, we're definitely live on Instagram. How come I don't see us on Instagram? That's so odd. Let's see. Brad Show Live. Here we are. Nope, that's not it. Now I see us live. Okay, let me say hello to our squad here on Brad Show Live Instagram. Khan Quash saying, hello, sir. I got my green card and my travel documents based on adjustment of status. I'm from Pakistan. I have not seen my family for 5 years. Can I travel to Afghanistan? It's a neighbor country. I will not be in trouble coming back. I got my green card and my travel documents based on, I guess, asylum. I guess that's what you're saying. Yes, you can go to Afghanistan. That's perfectly okay. Real Zemo, can you break down the R1 visa requirements? Yes, you have to be a religious worker. You have to dedicate your life to your religious work. You have to be working full-time for 2 years in the religious occupation prior to your sponsorship. You have to show you've been specially trained for your religious work, and you have to be sponsored by a non-for-profit religious organization. Veriz B004 with a question. My dad applied for my brother and sister's I-130. Is there a way to expedite the process? You could always request based on humanitarian reasons, but it is very difficult. I'm answering questions right now on Brad Show Live on Instagram. Special Shift. Can I get married on the visit visa If yes, then after how many years can I get the green card or citizenship? You can get married on a visitor's visa. Make sure you come here for purposes of visiting. You wait 90 days. You then get married. Then you file your adjustment. Then you get your green card. Then you got to wait 3 years for your citizenship. But once you get your green card, if you join the military and you want to become a citizen quicker, that would be the quickest way to do it. All right. And let's see. Let's see if anything else. Do I ever read DMs? Of course. And Boris Manuel 3, also with a question on Bradshaw Live. Greetings, sir. I have a degree in animal production technology. Very impressive. I don't know what that is. Animal production technology. A certification in project management and 5 years as a production coordinator. Do you have anything for me? Do I have what for you? How to get a green card, how to get a work visa. It starts with finding an employer. Then contact me. All right, one more pre-schmooze question on Brad Show Live on Instagram. Kanquash, who got asylum, is worried coming back from Afghanistan. Will it give me a problem? No, you have a green card. You applied for asylum from Pakistan. Afghanistan is not Pakistan. You will be okay. Stamp of approval. And let's go to Real Brad Bernstein. And let's see how we're doing on Real Brad Bernstein live. And on Real Brad Bernstein, let's see if anybody has anything to say. And Armand, what's the chance of my mother-in-law to get a visa after being refused twice? Probably will be refused a third time. You know what Einstein said? Do the same thing over and over and over again, expect a different result. It's the definition of insanity. Olawafimi, can I come to the United States, get married after 90 days, file adjustment, and leave the country while waiting for the decision? You can get married, file an adjustment, but if you leave without advance parole, that's the end of your adjustment status case, and your visa is no longer valid, so you're going to have a hard time coming back. Par 7H. One of my family friends owns a motel. Can they sponsor me for a work visa? Depends what skills you have, but maybe, yeah, why not? And one last question live on Real Brad Bernstein. On Real Brad Bernstein, I have a tourist visa, and the second time I'm visiting, they revoked it without any explanation. It happened in Alexandria Bay border crossing. There's a reason why they rejected it. We have to do what's called a Customs and Border Patrol Freedom of Information Act request, and that will give us the answers to why you were turned down, why it was revoked at the border, and then we'll figure out how to fix it. All right, we'll do one more. Why not? Hello, I'm on, and this is from Nikitas23. Hello, I'm on an F1 student visa. What is the process to get a great card? I guess a green card from that. Well, you can get married to a U.S. citizen. You can get sponsored in a job. You can invest $1 million in a business. Any way that you can get a green card. There's 5 or 6 ways to get a green card: family, employment, investments, visa lottery, asylum, victim of a crime. All right. And that's what's going on Instagram right now. We are live on many different streams right now. We are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. We are, by the way, on Facebook, it's Brad Show Live. On YouTube, it's also live on Brad Show Live. We are live on Instagram on Real Brad Bernstein, and live on Instagram at Brad Show Live, and live on Twitter at Brad Show Live. Of course, I'm going to be answering your immigration questions live. You call the telephone number streaming on the bottom of your screen right now. In about 10 minutes, I'm going to go live and speak to you live and answer the questions. All you got to do is call the number below, get in the queue, and I will speak to you live on Brad Show Live. The telephone number is 1-800-529-5465. Our lines are open. International, it's +1 212-227-8933. But right now, before we get into answering your viewers' calls, we got to schmooze a little bit and see what's going on in the news. Let's do it. Oh, hello there. I was just taking a sip of my own coffee. Came back to me already. So April 8th, the Biden administration extended work permits for 540 days for eligible immigrants. So what does that mean? That means if you have a work permit and it's through adjustment of status, through asylum, through any way that you have a work permit, yes, that document right there, and you go to renew it. Now you have to renew it 120 days before the expiration of the work permit. But what happens is immigration's taking months and months and months to renew the work permit. And now that work permit is expired, you have a receipt notice, and now your employer is saying, well, get lost, you're fired, you don't have a work permit. So now the Biden administration previously said that work permit extension notice, that receipt notice that you got saying that your work permit extension has been received and being processed, they used to be 180 days. It's now 540 days. What that means is when you go to file for the renewal of your EAD, your work permit, you get a receipt notice back. You can use that receipt notice to legally work in the United States for 18 months while you're waiting for the renewal of your work permit. So nobody should lose their jobs now because they're waiting for immigration to approve their work permit. So that's good news, and good job on the Biden administration realizing that these work permits are taking way too long to get extended. So they have automatically extended people's work permission for 540 days. That's 18 months as soon as they file for their renewal. So bravo, Mr. President. And despite the Biden administration expanding work permits for various immigrant groups, including asylum seekers and green card applicants, it is yet to address the issue for the nearly 11 million immigrants outside of those categories. And I've been saying this for years. Maybe there's 11 million immigrants in the Northeast. There's probably 30, 40, 50 million undocumented immigrants in the United States, all working under the table. So long-term immigrants living in the U.S. 5, 10, 15, 20 years without permanent legal status, they're pressing for work permits too. And there's a robust labor market. There are employers who can't fill jobs. Inflation's going through the roof. So advocates are urging the administration to use existing executive authority more aggressively to offer relief to immigrants. And that could be doing some sort of parole in place for them. It's a very convoluted system right now. And whatever the Biden administration may or may not do has the potential for a lot of litigation. Do not expect any mass work permit issuance to anybody before the second week of November. Why? Because that's the presidential election. And it is not good politics for somebody to get elected to give a work permit to an undocumented immigrant who may take a job away from an American worker. So that's not going to happen between now and November. What happens after November if President Biden gets reelected? If the Democrats win both the Senate and the House of Representatives, there could be potentially an amnesty worked out. Now, there has not been a new amnesty in the United States since 1986. That was the last time there was an amnesty passed. So if I did the math right, that's 96, 06, 16, 40 years ago. So there's been 40 years of immigrants coming to the United States in a global economy who have just been living here undocumented for years and years and years and years and years. Prior to the 1986 amnesty, there was an old form of amnesty called registry. It started in the 1920s. It said anybody who is here undocumented in the United States and can show that they are otherwise admissible, meaning they don't have a criminal record, they're not a security threat, they're, no skeletons in their closet, good people, just undocumented, just here in the United States. They can show that they were here from that date and apply for their green cards. It's an old form of amnesty. It started in 1929. Those dates were updated by Congress on 4 separate occasions. The last occasion was 1972. So there is potentially a law on the books right now for amnesty. 1972. If you were here since 1972, you get a green card, period. How many people have been here since 1972 who are still undocumented? Probably very few. Maybe a dozen, maybe 2 dozen, who knows? but it's not too many. But government does not need to make a new amnesty program. There is an amnesty program on the books. They just got to amend the law. Say, change the law from 1972 to 2010, 2015, 2020. Very simple. So you don't need a whole new law and a whole new process. There's a process in place. So if Biden wins, if the Democrats win, potentially you could be looking at something. But for this year, forget it. And if Trump wins, you can really forget it. And USCIS has also updated Form N-400 application for naturalization to include a third gender option. You now have male, female, and now you have X, gender X. That means you're not man, you're not female, you're just something else between man and woman. Who knows? You're gender X. And the agency said this change aligns with efforts to accommodate diverse gender identities and reduce administrative barriers. And it applies now on or after April 1st, 2024. So you can choose whatever. You can gender X if you identify as anything other than man or woman. You're X. And USCIS is going to revise the forms to include the X gender option, and Social Security cards will be updated if necessary to select the X gender option on your Social Security forms. So if you want to be gender X, you no longer want to be man, you're no longer female, you're gender X, and you filed for your citizenship even before April 1st, 2024, you can go on your interview and tell the immigration officer, wait, I am no longer female, I am gender X, or wait, I'm no longer man, I'm gender X. And they will change that on the form, and you will now identify as some other gender other than male or female. You can also change it by letter form if you're if you did an online filing, by updating a letter on your online filing as well. And on April 4th, immigration announced that the medical form I-693, completed and signed by a civil surgeon, everyone has to go take a medical exam. If it was done after November 2023, it just does not expire. So you can now feel safe going to the doctor, filing with the medical exam with your application all up front, and know that your medical exam will no longer expire. It will be good indefinitely. And it can be used to demonstrate your good health for inadmissibility or admissibility indefinitely. And USCIS says, based on advances in public health electronic notification, USCIS has determined that the medical form's evidentiary value should no longer be limited to a certain period of time. If you're in good health on November 1st, 2023, it's presumed you will still be in good health in 2024 and 2025. And therefore, now when you're putting in any application for your green card that requires your medical exam, just put it in upfront with all your other applications. It's one less thing to do, one less thing for immigration to write you back for at the end. Sometimes people would wait to the end to do their medical because they were scared, I got to go take a medical and then it's going to expire and now I got to do it again. No longer. You don't have to worry about that anymore. And on April 4th, a federal district court judge ruled that migrant children must be promptly housed by the federal government instead of being left in an unsafe open-air site along the border. The decision is in response to a class action lawsuit and grants certain rights and protections to minors under the custody of the Department of Homeland Security. The ruling became effective immediately, impacting thousands of children, compelling U.S. Customs and Border Protection to allocate more resources. The court order addresses concerns over poor conditions, health risks, and the lack of formal custody, emphasizing the government's responsibility to ensure safety and sanitation. And I'm sure everyone now saw or heard about the very sad Baltimore bridge collapse about 2 weeks ago. Shortly before 1:30 a.m. on March 26, 2024, the container ship Dolly crashed into Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge, causing the 47-year-old structure to collapse into the Patapsco River. Now, Maryland Transportation Authority police officers were able to close the bridge to traffic in the seconds before the impact. However, video has showed two vehicles trying to cross the bridge within the 30 seconds of the bridge collapse. Crews rescued two people from the water. 6 members of a construction crew working on the bridge, unfortunately, were unable to get to safety. And on Wednesday, the bodies of 35-year-old Alejandro Hernandez Fuentes, 35, he was a native of Mexico who lived in Baltimore, and Dorlian Roniel Castillo Cabrera, 26, who was a native of Guatemala and lived in Maryland. They were recovered at the bottom of the river, unfortunately, in a red pickup truck. On April 4th, the body of 38-year-old Maynor Yasir Suazo Sandoval from Honduras was recovered from the Patapsco River. Sandoval had lived in America for almost 20 years. He even dreamed of starting a business. And 3 workers still remain missing. They include Miguel Luna, 49, a father of 5 from El Salvador. Luna had lived in Maryland for 19 years. Jose Menor Lopez, a 35-year-old, and Carlos Hernandez, 24-year-old, and they were both from Mexico. And what do they all have in common? They were all immigrants, all working on that bridge. And a vigil to honor the 6 victims killed in the Key Bridge collapse was held on Saturday evening in South Baltimore. Now, all the missing workers, as I said, were immigrants, reflecting the vital yet often overlooked contributions of the immigrant populations to the United States of America. And despite stereotypes perpetrated by some politicians, migrants typically perform essential jobs that others avoid, including bridge work. And these individuals, like many migrants, endure challenging conditions to support their families and communities. And they often send remittances back home to support their families back home. And their sacrifices remind us of the significant role immigrants play in various sectors of our society. And as discussions around immigration intensify, it's essential to recognize the invaluable contributions of migrant workers who may likely be involved in rebuilding efforts such as these tragedies. And meanwhile, while 6 migrants who worked on that bridge in a dangerous condition died as a result of that horrific accident, Fox business host Maria Bartiromo, she received criticism, rightfully so, for linking the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore to the Biden administration's immigration policy during an early morning broadcast after the incident occurred. Nobody.
The ship involved in the collapse of the bridge is 948 feet long, called the Dolly, a Singaporean flagged container. But of course, you've been talking a lot about the potential for wrongdoing or potential for foul play given the wide open border. That is why you have been so adamant.
So she suggested there was a connection between the bridge collapse and the, quote, wide open border, despite at that moment, nobody knew why the boat hit the bridge. And it turns out there has been zero evidence to support such claims. So the exact cause of the crash is still under investigation, but most people believe now it was because the Dolly boat lost power and drifted. This huge boat just drifted into the bridge. And because it was so heavy and huge, and the bridge was not built to sustain such a ramming by such a large boat, the whole bridge collapsed. It had nothing to do with immigration whatsoever. And in other fake news, on March 28th, ahead of March Madness in the NCAA championship basketball tournament, I don't know if people saw this, but Michigan State Representative Matt Maddock claimed on social media that buses carrying illegal invaders arrived at the Detroit Metro Airport on Allegiant Air, and there were 3 or more buses waiting at that airport waiting to transport the illegal invaders. It turns out that they were not immigrants and they were not illegal invaders, but those buses were transporting the Gonzaga University's basketball team. And as you can see, the basketball team was in the NCAA tournament, had nothing to do with immigration whatsoever. But this is how a fake news goes around the country. Somebody tweets something that is just absolutely not true, puts a picture with it, says it extraordinarily confidently, and then it becomes believable. But eagle-eyed viewers of X put two and two together and said, wait a second, that was the time the Gonzaga University basketball team was showing up at the Detroit airport. And an Allegiant spokesperson, which was the airline that the Gonzaga basketball team flew on, confirmed that a charter flight carrying the Gonzaga team from Spokane, Washington was the only Allegiant flight to the Detroit airport on Wednesday, which was also corroborated by an online flight tracking website. As for Maddox's claim about illegal invaders getting a police escort, well, yes, the Wayne County Airport Authority confirmed that the Gonzaga team, who was in the Sweet 16, did get a police escort to the stadium. Maddox persisted with his false claims despite social media users pointing out the error, reiterating his claim the next day, alleging mass illegal immigration without any evidence. And this is the crazy, crazy world that we live in right now. And in great other NCAA news, the 2024 Women's NCAA Basketball Final Four featured Iowa, South Carolina, Connecticut, and North Carolina State, which led to record high ticket prices for women's basketball. TickPick reports an average purchase price of $532 a ticket. And a good part of the excitement of the women's Final Four this year was brought to us by immigration. And it would be impossible to walk away from the Friday, April 5th, University of Connecticut versus Iowa women's basketball Final Four game without feeling like University of Connecticut was an absolute powerhouse. They ultimately lost by a hair at 69-71, lost by 2 points, but immigration played a huge role in their game. Let's start at the top. The coach of University of Connecticut's basketball team is Gino Orima. He was born in Italy and migrated to the U.S. with his family when he was just 7 years old, became a naturalized U.S. citizen in 1994. Then there's Nika Mul, the Croatian native whose playing was key to University of Connecticut's first half success. She guarded the heck out of Caitlin Clark, who was regarded as the greatest women's college basketball player in history, completely throwing off Clark's game and keeping her scoring down. And Canadian Aaliyah Edwards, also a University of Connecticut forward, scored 17 points. And the other two members of the team that was vital was Inez Betancourt from Portugal and Jana Al-Alfi from Egypt, an entire team of immigrants making it to the Final Four. So congratulations to the University of Connecticut team. They did make it to the Final Four with a team full of immigrants and an immigrant coach, but lost in the Final Four, which for those who don't follow is the semifinals, but congratulations to them anyway. And then Sunday's championship game, the Iowa versus South Carolina, was also exciting. And there's also an immigration story in the finals. Center Camila Cardoza, a native of Brazil, she almost won it for them. The 6'7" player delivered for Coach Dawn Staley in South Carolina. The Gamecocks 38. Oh, she did win it for them. My apologies. I'm a terrible sportscaster. The Gamecocks 38-0 became the 10th Division I team to go through a season without a loss. And on Monday, Cardoza declared for the WNBA draft, foregoing the extra season of eligibility. And she was one of the best players in women's college basketball. And the draft is going to be held on April 15th. And we go back to the ticket prices going for $532 a ticket for the Final Four. And, you know, everybody always says, well, when is women's pay in athletics going to equal men's pay in athletics? And it really comes down to finances. When people want to pay to see women's basketball, when people want to pay to see women's soccer, that's when women's pay should fairly go up to match the men's pay. And when the average ticket price for the NCAA Final Four women's bracket is $532 a ticket, that means the NCAA is making a lot of money. And hopefully that will translate into the WNBA, and hopefully women's pay scales in athletics can hopefully catch up to men's. It should be, they should. It's a matter of financials. If the team doesn't earn enough money, they can't pay their players like the NBA teams. But if people are willing to pay the tickets and and television continues to surpass the television viewers of the NCAA finals and the NBA, which is what happened this past women's bracket. Then television and ticket sales should put more money in the pockets of the teams, which should put more money in the pockets of the women athletes. And Chef Nico Kagalanan, who opened Cultura Restaurant in Charleston, South Carolina. You may remember Chef Nico. He appeared on our show to discuss how immigrating to the United States from the Philippines inspired his culinary career. Well, we have a Bradshaw Live update. Chef Kagalanan has just been named to the James Beard Awards 2024 Restaurant and Chef nominees and honorees. And for those who don't know, the James Beard Award is the ultimate in awards. It is like the Academy Awards for the movies. It's like the Grammys for music. James Beard is equivalent for chefs. And James Beard recognizes and celebrates exceptional talent. And Chef Kagalan was named a finalist in the Emerging Chef category, which highlights chefs who display talent, character, and leadership. And Chef Kagalanan, I'm pronouncing his name incorrectly, is known for his inventive take on Filipino cuisine. And the nomination adds to his growing list of accolades, including Eater's Best New Restaurant list and the Food Network's Chopped Champion. Now, when I spoke to him, he just opened up a small pop-up restaurant in Charleston. He has blown up since then. So congratulations to Chef Nico, and all the nominees and winners are going to be announced on June 10th. And finally, Ellis Island's museum is getting a 21st century makeover more than 100 years after millions of immigrants took their first steps in America there. A new $100 million project aims to revitalize the 125-year-old landmark with immersive and modern exhibits. The famed island, located in New York Harbor, first became a processing center for immigrants in 1892, and until it closed in 1954, every immigrant who came to the United States of America went through Ellis Island to be processed. It was the only immigration center in the entire United States of America. And why? Because prior to 1954, people were not flying to the United States. They were taking a boat, and the boats would come right up to Ellis Island, drop you off, you would be processed, and then taken on another boat to the mainland of New York City. And then from there, you can go spread out throughout the United States of America. It closed in 1954 because the advent of the airplane and people started flying into airports. But the brick buildings are still there. It is now a museum. And after they closed their doors in 1954, it did fall into disrepair. Nobody did anything with it until 1982, when then President Ronald Reagan asked Chrysler Chairman Lee Iacocca to lead a private fundraising campaign to restore the historic site. And after millions of dollars in restoration work and a public-private partnership between the foundation and the National Park Service, more than 15 million visitors have passed through its doors. It is now a museum open to the public, and it will be getting now a $100 million project makeover. And besides being a museum, you can go there and you can trace your ancestry all the way back to your relatives, if they came prior to 1954, and see who your relatives were and when they came in and how they were processed. They have a record of almost everybody who went through those doors now. So that should be fun if you ever visit New York to go see there. I went there once. It's a great trip. You go to the Statue of Liberty, then you go to Ellis Island, and it's a full day, and you do a full circle, and it's a really fun day, especially if it's a nice sunny day. Don't go in the rain, because then it's miserable. All right, so that is our schmooze for the day. And before we get into our meat and potatoes, which is me answering your immigration questions, I do want to talk about a success story. Letitia, like many, sought a better life in America, leaving her children behind as she arrived as a green card holder because they were too old to accompany her. And despite the emotional strain of being separated from her children for years, Letitia worked tirelessly to establish herself in the United States. And once Letitia came to Spar Bernstein, we were able to make her dream of reuniting with her children a reality, as long with her mother. She came along with her mother, and they all legally joined her in the United States as lawful permanent residents. Letitia expressed her emotions upon finally having her family together. Let's watch.
All of us are done through Mr. Bernstein. It started from my mom right up to the siblings. So we are so grateful for Mr. Bernstein. The ins and outs takes us almost 3 years.
And now you're with your children?
Yes, I'm with them.
How does it feel to be with your kids now?
Oh, it's joyful, joyful. So I'm heading on to the next phase now. Thank you, Mr. Bernstein.
All right, we're ready to go to our meat and potatoes. This is when I answer your immigration questions. We got our lines locked and loaded. Kim, Kay, Dominic, Chris. Andel, Maria, Manuel, Perm, Okami, Herman, and Camille. We're coming to you right now. Let's do it. And let's start with Kim in Davenport, Florida. Kim.
Hi, Brad. How you doing?
Great. How you doing?
I am doing fine. I have a question. So
Sure.
I'm calling on behalf of a family friend, right?
Right.
So she have a husband. He came over from Haiti when he was young, right?
Uh-huh.
He got a DT status.
It's a eight. Hold on. Hold on.
He got a DT status, right?
It's a BP
And then
status. I don't know what a BP status is. What is that?
deterred status, where he can work. He got a work permit and stuff like that.
He has deferred status?
Yes, he have that, and he received his work permit and his travel permit last year, right?
What do you mean by
But now
deferred?
they're married.
What do you mean by deferred status? I don't know what you mean. Tell me his history.
All right, so he came over. His parents came over from Haiti, right? When they came over,
He has temporary protected status, is what you're saying.
yes,
Okay.
yes,
All right.
yes.
Okay, all right. Just want to make sure. Okay, so he's from Haiti, he has temporary protected status, and the question is what?
So now he's married to an American citizen, right?
Right.
He's wondering what paperwork he needs to file.
Okay, question for you. Are you the U.S. citizen?
Mhm.
You the wife? You the
No,
wife?
I'm
No.
not the wife.
You're
No,
not
my is the wife.
Okay, fine. All right. So, do you know how he first entered the United States of America?
They were, I guess, illegally.
Okay. When he got temporary protected status, did he ever travel on advance parole?
Yes, we went to Jamaica the other day and came back.
And he was allowed back, no problem.
No problem, correct.
So, because his last entry was now a legal admission, and because he took a short trip abroad and came back, it wasn't a long period of time, he's eligible to adjust based on the entry on the advance parole. So you're going to file an I-485, which is the adjustment, an I-130, which is the visa petition, an I-130A, which is his biographic data forms, an I-864, which is the affidavit of support that the wife is going to sign, an I-765 for the work permit, because I assume he wants to get a work permit.
He have that already. He have a work permit already.
All right, so if he doesn't want the work permit, he would save $230 in filing fees. He doesn't have to pay for it. And if he doesn't want the travel document, because he would get another advance parole, if he doesn't want that, he would save $675. So if he doesn't want those, then don't file it, because you got to pay separately for them now. So if he already has the work permit, he doesn't need to pay for it again. So just file the I-130, the I-485, the I-130A, and the I-864. There's new filing fees. The new filing fees without 675, 775, 875. I'm doing the math in my head. 875, 905. Should be, if I did the math right, $2,100, but I could be wrong. I got to look back at the filing fees because it just changed April 1st. But right around that.
Okay.
Got to double check the filing fees.
So file all of them together?
Yes, because if you don't, nothing will happen. File the adjustment, the I-130, everything together. But double check the filing fees.
Okay.
All right?
Okay, I will. All right. Thank you very much, Brad.
All right. Kay in Paramus. Kay.
Hi.
Hi, Kay.
Evening, Brad.
How you doing?
Not too bad. How are you? So I did filing. I want to for my mom, and it's now at the NDC stage. Now, because of COVID, the last 3 years, I was below the income required, but this year I will be above.
Okay.
So I got an employment letter from my
When you
client.
say this year 2024, or your tax returns from 2023?
My tax return for 2023 was a few hundred below the
All right, so
income.
you're gonna most likely need a second affidavit of support, even though you're now earning above, because you had 3 years below and you just have a short period of time of now being above without even having filed that tax return yet. So you have someone to give a second affidavit of support?
Sorry, I filed 2023 already.
But you said 2023, you were a couple $100 below the poverty level.
Yes.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. You're probably going to need a second affidavit of support. Do you have somebody to do that? Even though now you're earning above, because you have 3 years below.
Yes.
They're going to look at the tax returns.
Yes. Okay. What I want to ask you is, can I use assets to offset that? Because when I read on the instructions,
you can use assets, but they should be significant assets, not like I have $10,000 in the bank. Like significant, like I got 150,000 in the bank, or I can demonstrate I have equity in a house that's 150,000.
It would have been cash. It's not that much.
But the easiest is if you can get an affidavit of support, then there's no question. You can take 20%. You can take 20% of your assets and add it, but it's still a discretionary decision by immigration. And I wouldn't want to see your mother denied on a discretionary decision. So yes, you can, but if I am your attorney, and I am for the next 30 seconds, because we're talking, I'm giving you my legal advice. My advice would be get a second affidavit of support.
And if I'm unable to, what's my next option?
Then you got to use your assets. I mean, you got to do what you got to do to get your mom here. But in the best of all worlds, you get a second affidavit of support.
Okay, because what I was thinking about sending in my tax returns before that, because it was because of COVID. No one back to what
they don't care about COVID. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
They don't care about COVID.
Okay, so I should definitely use assets then, not just the employment letter and to show that I'm above, not just that.
Correct, for sure.
Oh. Okay, so I will do that then.
Good luck.
All right, thank you so much.
Let's go to Dominic in Kingston, Jamaica. Dominic.
I will do that.
Okay.
Hey, Dominic.
I'm here. I'm next.
Dominic.
I'm here with you. Hello.
Hi, Dominic. You got to shut off the computer in the background. Listen to your phone.
Okay. I'm here with you. Are you guys hearing me?
Yes, I hear you. What's going on?
Okay. So my question is, I have two questions. So my mom put in filing for me in December 2021, and it says that the case is actively reviewed as of October 17, 2022. So I'm wondering, how long is that going to take before my I-130 has been approved?
I don't know.
That's the first question.
I don't know. When did your mom put in for you?
In December 2021.
It may be approved tomorrow. It may be approved in a year from now. It may be approved in 2 years from now. When it gets approved is not as important as was it approved in time for your priority date to be current. Right now, I assume you're single. Is your mom a citizen or a resident?
She is a resident, but she applied for her citizenship, so she's waiting on that approval.
So even if what you have to understand is whether the I-130 gets approved today or in a year from now, you're still on a waiting list for a green card, which is still another three plus years away. So as long as your I-130 gets approved in the next 3 years, you're not going to lose any time waiting for your green card. Although I'm sure you're anxious to get it approved. But the answer is, when will it be approved? I don't know, but it will be approved within the next 3 years, which is all that matters to you.
Okay, no problem.
All right. All right. Good luck. Let's go to Chris in Brooklyn. Chris.
Hi, Mr. Brad. How are you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Great, thanks. I just got two questions.
Sure.
I filed my citizenship. I've been to the interview, passed my citizenship. Can I travel while waiting on my work
Sure.
permit?
Yep. Just don't travel for more than 6 months out of the country. Do short trips.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I passed my interview, so I'm just waiting on my work permit.
Congratulations.
And I must thank you to you. I was one of your previous clients there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We got
so
you
that's
your
all.
green card.
Yeah, you did.
All right. Everything went well. Sing my praises for 10
Everything.
seconds. Tell everybody how great I am.
Oh, he's awesome. I'm telling you, Mr. Brad is awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, you can travel, no problem. You can travel, no problem.
Thank you.
All right. Good luck. All right. Let's go to Jason in Westchester. Jason.
Good afternoon, brother. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good.
Okay. I just like to find out a question.
Sure.
My daughter is here, and she just came here like 3 months now, but I want to do a paperwork for my granddaughter, but she just get her green card. Can she use her green card and file for the baby?
Where's the baby?
Baby is just like, she's in Jamaica.
How old is the baby?
The baby is gonna be 8 months this month.
You know what you should have done, and it's too late now.
Yeah.
But good lesson for everybody else listening. If you file for your daughter and she has a baby under 2 years old and she gets her immigrant visa, she on her first trip up with the immigrant visa, not the second trip, the first trip up, she can ask the embassy to give the baby a parole to come with her. And then she could have done work here. But you can't get the parole now on the second trip. So yes, she can use her green card to file for the baby, but it's going to take, unfortunately, about 3 years before the baby gets a green card now.
Okay.
But yes, she should do it immediately.
Okay, so she can use a green card. So it will take at least 3 years, right?
Correct. And do it now.
Okay, brother. Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go to Arnold in Portland. Arnold.
Yes, hello.
Hi, Arnold.
Yes, hi.
Oh, it's not Arnold. My apologies. I'm having I'm getting up in age and I can't see anymore. 55, I'm blind. It's not your name's not Arnold, it's Amdell. I can't even read. My apologies, Amdell. How are you?
I'm fine, you.
Sorry, I've called you Arnold for no reason. All right, what's going on? What's your question?
My question is simple. I got a B1 visa and owning a U.S. company that is registered here. And my question is, how can I do in order to be able to run my company by myself legally? Get a resident
What
card.
is the visa that you're here on right now?
I'm here for business because I came here to formalize my company and open a bank account for
Where
it.
are you from? Where are you from?
Cameroon.
And you have a company in Cameroon.
Yes, and I've registered the company here in the U.S.
What does the company in Cameroon do?
Software distribution, and that's the same thing.
Yeah, how much business do you do in Cameroon?
In Cameroon, we run 250,000 per year.
Okay.
You
and you have employees working for you, I assume?
Yeah.
And you have a business plan to do that here in the United States as well, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah, so you would want to apply for something called an L1A visa, which is an intra-company transferee visa. You have a business in Cameroon, active, making money with employees. You're an executive or manager in that business. You're actually the owner of that business. And you also own a business in the United States, and you are prepared to make a substantial investment in that business in the United States, which has to be six-figure investment. And you plan to come here to operate that business as well. And you plan to hire U.S. workers because you got to manage and be the executive. And if you're able to put a business plan together and you have the finances to do it, and you're also able to show in that business plan that you intend to continue to operate that business in Cameroon. Now you got a business in Cameroon and a prospective business in the United States that you need to take off the ground, that you have the financial resources and the plans to do it, to run both businesses simultaneously. They'll give you an L1A visa to come over to operate and run and start that business up, and you'll get it, the L1A. I'm sorry?
How long this process can take?
Let me finish my statement first, and then I'll probably answer most of your questions.
Okay.
The L1A visa is good for 1 year. And at the end of that 1 year, you need to be able to show that you did what you said you were going to do. Because if you didn't, they're not going to renew your L1A visa. And then once you extend your L1A visa, you can turn around and apply for your green card. You can self-petition yourself. How quick is the L1A visa to get? Depends on how quick you can put things together. But from the time that an application gets filed, you can pay an expedite, they'll should be able to get it approved even with an RFE in about 6 to 8 weeks, and then go apply for your visa. But how many months it will take to put the application together, that's a whole other story. I've seen people, start to finish 6 months. I've seen people start to finish a year. Depends on how fast you operate.
Oh, okay. So on how you say it depends on how fast I can provide the documentation, and from the public office, it can take up to 6 months, you said?
I said that. Hold on 1 second, because you're just repeating what I said, but we can have a consultation. Hold on. Let's go to Marie in San Diego. Marie.
Yeah. Hi.
How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Marie in San Diego. Okay, good to help you.
Hi,
Marie, you have to listen to the phone, not the computer.
Okay. Hi, sorry. My question, how are you?
I said good. How are you?
Good. I can hear clearly. Okay. My question is, I got married when I was in tourist visa in June 29, 2021. But my agency petitioned me and got here by a E31 visa.
So you were a nurse? You're a nurse?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you got your green card as a registered nurse, and you got married. You got married before you got your immigrant visa.
Yes.
Okay,
correct.
so your spouse can join you on that old petition.
Oh no, my spouse is a U.S. citizen.
Oh, okay. So then, what's the problem?
My question is when I can apply for a citizenship.
As long as you've been living in a bona fide marriage with your spouse, and you can show that you have a joint financial relationship and you've been living with your spouse 3 years after you got your green card. So it doesn't matter how you got your green card. What matters is you have a green card and you've been residing with your spouse in a bona fide marriage for 3 years, who's a U.S. citizen.
3 years, but the thing is, my agency was like assigned me to a different place, whereas my spouse is working in a different place, but not they were meeting together.
If you didn't live with your spouse, then you have to wait 5 years.
Oh, I see. Okay, so I should be living with my spouse 3 years from the day.
3 years, correct, to do your citizenship earlier.
Oh. Okay, I got it.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. Let's go to Emmanuel in Long Island. Emmanuel.
Yeah.
Hi, Emmanuel.
Hi, Brad. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, my question is, I just got married to a U.S. citizen, and I recently put her on my credit card. This is my first ever credit card here. The credit card were mailed through her address to her. She took the credit card and without my consent, finished the approved amount. And because I tried to ask why she did what she did, now it looks like she's playing hide and seek with me.
Okay, so you got married to a U.S. citizen. She stole your credit cards and then basically maxed them out, and now is giving you a bunch of BS, bunch of crap.
Yes.
So it sounds like she's certainly manipulative. It sounds like she's lying to you. Was there? That's a form of emotional abuse. Did she curse at you? Did she yell at you? Did she physically hurt you? Because it looks like you're going down the path of filing immigration case for emotional abuse. I would stop the credit card. Obviously, call the credit card company and stop it. You're still going to be responsible for the charges. I would still call the credit card company and say, my credit card got stolen. I never used any of this, and see if they may even, cover your charges. But you got to speak to the credit card company about that. But I would certainly stop the credit card immediately and let them know that your credit card got stolen. But this seems to me to be the start, but not a full picture of somebody who's being emotionally abused. And you would probably want to have a consultation with me so we can go into the details of it. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Let's go to Prem in Atlanta. Prem.
Hey, hi.
Hi, Prem. How are you?
I'm good. Let's go to
Prem. All right, I'm going to put Prem on hold, and I'm going to tell everybody who's going to come in after. When I come to you, listen to the phone, not your phone, not listen to the actual live call, me and you, not to the show. Because if you're listening to the show, there's a 45-second delay. So I say, hi, Prem, how are you? And Prem is still listening to me from the prior call. And then we sit here back and forth. So happy to talk to you. Talk to me live on the phone, not live through the show. Let's try back to Prem again. Prem, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good. What can I do to help you today?
Hey, Brad, I have a few questions today. So I'm in United States on a green card, and my wife is back in home country. I want to file I-130 petition for her, but the problem is right now we don't have her birth certificate. Due to some circumstance, we are not able to produce it right now. It will take some time.
What is the circumstance?
Can I file her?
What's the circumstance?
So basically, the thing is like she has to get that birth certificate from her village, and right now she is studying in some other state where she can't go right now. She probably after 2 months she can go and fetch it.
What country is this?
Nepal.
Okay. You need a birth certificate to file. But can I give a suggestion? Don't you know anybody in the village you can send $50 to that is sitting around with nothing to do? And for $50, they would be thrilled to go get the birth certificate for you? I'm sure you know somebody. She knows somebody. Pay somebody.
Actually, I am already in the United States, and she's alone there, and
I
her
understand that,
parents
but
are in Germany.
She grew up in that village. You don't have a friend, relative. The family doesn't have a friend who can do it. Somebody should be able to do it for you.
Okay.
Money makes the world go round. Pay somebody to do it. That's my advice. Other than that, you got to wait.
Okay. Okay. I had a follow-up question, sir. So I was also thinking to file a B1, B2, a visitor visa, when so that she can come here.
She's unlikely to get it. She's unlikely to get it because she's married to a U.S. citizen.
I'm on a green card, not a citizen right now.
Even worse, she's unlikely to get it because you're a green card holder. But you could try.
Okay,
you can certainly try. Nothing bad will happen. But as soon as they check off, how old's your wife? How old's your wife?
She is 28.
Okay, 28, in school with no job, married to a permanent resident. If I'm the immigration officer, I'm going to say she's not going back to Nepal. She has no reason to go back. So, but certainly you can try, but I don't think they'll give it to her.
The thing is, like, okay. I'll just give you a little bit of background. So she is into her third year residency. She is doing a residency as in like she's a doctor. Now,
Okay.
once she
Okay.
comes
So
here,
maybe, okay.
again,
So, all right. So we know a little more information now. She's she's in her residency for a medical doctor. Then maybe she would get a visitor's visa if she goes into the embassy and she says, I'm going to visit the US. I'm in the middle of my residency. Why would I give up my whole freaking career to go live illegally in the United States? I'm going to go back and finish my residency, of course. So yeah, maybe she'll get it.
And once she is here, I can then file adjustment of status. Will that work legally?
No, because the priority dates are retrogress. So there's still about a 1.5 to 2 year wait. How long have you been married?
It's been 5 months now.
How'd you get your green card?
I got a green card through diversity visa.
And when did you get that?
I got it in September 2023, last year September.
So you got married after you got your green card?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, after a green card. Otherwise, I could have completed her.
All she can do is come here to visit and go home, and then you could file for her, but it's going to take 2-3 years.
That's the best way?
She's not eligible to adjust because the priority date's retrogress. Hold on. I'll have a consultation with you. I'll explain more. Let's go to Okami in Buena Park, California.
Okay.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Hi, how are you?
Good. What's going on?
Hi, Uncle Brett. So I have a quick question for you. So I am living in this state without the documents, but what I want to know is my mom is trying to apply for a U.S. visa, but it's not her first time. She already had her like a 10 years visa expired in like a 2022. So she's trying to apply for her second time, like a visitor visa with my younger brother. But what I want to know is it might be.
The problem is you.
Right.
Because once a child, a son or daughter overstays the visa, they're not giving the visa to the mom.
Oh, it's even okay. Even if she didn't like mention me on her,
she can lie and then be caught in a lie and then be denied for misrepresentation, never get a visa. So I wouldn't suggest that.
Oh no.
But unfortunately, what you need to do to help yourself and your family is get a green card. Because if you get a green card, obviously you're helping yourself. And then your mom would then be more likely to get a visa. So I would suggest to mom, don't apply now, because once she starts getting denied, it's like automatic denial every time you go. You're better off if you can figure out a way to get a green card, and when you have a green card, then mom applies, and then she would have a good chance of getting it.
Okay.
How you're going to get a green card, I have no idea, but we can have a consultation about that. But that would be my advice, because right now it's almost because what happens is once you get in that cycle of I go for a visa and get denied, it's very hard to get out of that cycle, and then immigration officer sees 2 years ago you got a denial. Oh, screw her, getting denied again, and say, just take that denial stamp and keep denying it, and it becomes frustrating. So you want to go the first time with the strongest case you can. And she doesn't have a strong case right now because her daughter overstayed. So she's either going to go in and lie and then be in a whole heap of trouble when she's caught in a lie, or hold back, although I know she's anxious to do something. And let's see if we can figure out how to get you a green card, because you have a green card. She's likely to get a visa then. She had one 20 years ago. She hasn't been back in a long time. She never violated her status. Her daughter's legal. It's a better case.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Uncle. So yeah, that's the only my concern I wanted to ask, because before she apply, I need to know if it's good or bad. Then I can advise her.
Well, I know you want to see your mom, but unfortunately, situation.
Right. Right. Okay. All right. Thank you, Fred.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Let's go to Herman in San Antonio, Texas. Herman.
Hi. How you doing?
Hi. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you for taking my call, and thank you for all your time and energy helping us all here.
Thank you.
My question is about my wife. In January 3rd of this year, she got a military parole in place.
Great.
So now she has an I-90. Yeah. Now she's got an I-94. 2 weeks ago, right before the new fees went into effect, I sent her adjustment of status packaging.
Great.
And I'm wondering, since her I-94 parole has an expiration date of January 3rd, 2025, should I start the process on getting another one so that in case no decision is made by then on her adjustment, that she would still be okay?
She's still okay. As long as she has a pending adjustment, she's legal to be here. Nothing bad will happen to her. She'll get a work permit. She'll get her travel document to go back and forth. There's no reason to extend her parole. And ultimately, it's, if you did the adjustment right, she should have her green card by early next year anyway. There's absolutely zero reason other than to spend your money unnecessarily for that.
Okay, sir. Well, thank you very much. That's all I needed to know.
All right. Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go to Camille in Marlboro, New Jersey. Camille.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I have a question about my situation.
Go ahead.
I have a withholding of removal like, from 2014. And my question is, do I have any chance to get the green card?
Well, for those who don't know, withholding removal is when you go into.
Excuse me?
I said, let me just educate some people for 30 seconds, and I'll come back to your answer. Withholding removal is you're in deportation. You've applied for asylum. The judge is going to deny your asylum, but says, yes, it's dangerous for you to go back, but you don't qualify for asylum. So we're going to give you withholding or removal. The government's not going to send you back to get killed, hurt, whatever the case may be, but you don't qualify for asylum. And so what the government has said to you is, we just promise not to deport you. We'll let you live here with a work permit, but you're not getting a green card. So now you're calling 10 years later, what do? I'm living here with a work permit. The government has promised not to deport me. I can live here for the rest of my life, but I don't have a green card. I can't travel, blah, blah, blah. The answer is you got to be eligible for a green card. So my question to you is, are you single? Are you married? Do you have children? What's your situation?
I'm single, but I have kids.
How old are your kids?
Around 5.
5 years old?
Yes.
Okay. And how did you come to the U.S.?
The student visa.
Okay. So the answer is either you're going to wait on your 5-year-old to turn 21, and then you'll get a green card and reopen your deportation case because your children cannot sponsor you until you're 21. Or ultimately in the future, you would marry a U.S. citizen in a bona fide marriage and do it. That's the two ways.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. You didn't like my answer, but that was it. All right. Sean in Bronx.
Hi, Brad. Thank you for answering my call.
My pleasure.
So I was deported around 10 years ago, a little over 10 years. I'm currently back now, but I did have during my deportation proceedings, I had a 30-day stay from the Attorney General. That was superseded and they still deported me. Like, what are my options now?
You don't have options unless you're a U.S. citizen, because if you got ordered deported and you're here back in the United States, that in of itself is a crime. So if you are discovered in the United States anywhere, an immigration lawyer files papers for you, for example, you're physically in the United States of America. The case stops automatically as soon as they say you're in the U.S. You re-entered after prior deportation. You committed a crime. It's like robbing a bank. You'll go to jail and get deported again. The only thing you can do is, one, show they deported a U.S. citizen, which is if you were a kid when you got your green card and your parents were citizens and they didn't realize. I've helped people in that situation. Or maybe there was some blatant violation of your rights in your deportation case that you would be eligible, that you should have not been deported, but you were. Short of that, anything else you're going to do. You say, oh, I married a U.S. citizen. I got 25 U.S. citizen children with her. She needs me. Too bad. You're in the U.S. after deportation. You returned, crime, go to jail, get deported. So you got a problem.
Okay, so what about the stay with the attorney general?
Who cares? You got deported. You're back.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
What about asylum? I've been heard of before.
You can have a consultation with me for sure. Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Let's go to Tamupa in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Yes. Hi, Brad, and thank you for taking this call and helping all of us here. I'm a J1. This is my 5th year. I'm not on the 2-year residence. And it was on research in a university where, we have a provisional patent, established a company, but not yet launched as into employ workers and, start selling. That should come about. Hopefully, we'll launch in the beginning of next year, January, February. Now, my J1 is expiring. Brad is expiring on end of September, so that 30th of September. So question is,
what do you do?
How do I transition to the EB2 NIW?
Well, you would have to qualify, and we would have to have a consultation to see if you qualify to sponsor yourself or get sponsored for a national interest waiver. Generally, the national interest waivers are going to be in your STEM positions, in your science, technology, engineering, and math positions, but not always. But I would need to have a consultation with you to fully understand all your qualifications and everything. But if, for example, you qualify for a national interest waiver, you can sponsor yourself. Where are you from? What country?
That's Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe, yeah. So hold on one second, okay? I don't know enough about your qualifications. Hold on. All right, so that is our meat and potatoes for the day. Of course, remember to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X, formerly Twitter, Threads on Instagram at Brad Show Live. You can follow me on TikTok at Brad Bernstein Law. You can also visit the law offices of Spar Bernstein on the web at www.lawsb.com. And you can give us a call at 1-800-529-5465 and internationally at 212-227-8933. And later in the show, I'm going to be answering your questions and comments on social media. So stay tuned. It's going to happen in 3 minutes. Leave your questions and comments in the comment section, whether you're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I'll try to answer as many as I can. But right now, I just want to remind everybody for the next 2 minutes that Spar Bernstein also handles personal injury claims as well as immigration cases. And some people may not realize that if you get hurt on someone else's property, you can file a premises liability claim. And in this personal injury video, I explain what it takes to be eligible for a premises liability claim, the most common type of premises liability cases in New York, and the difference between a slip and fall accident and a trip and fall accident. If you get hurt on someone else's property, you can file a premises liability claim. To be eligible for a premises liability claim, all the following must be true. You suffered a personal injury. Your accident occurred due to unsafe conditions. You were present on the property lawfully, which means you were hired to work there or the property owner invited you. The landowner was aware of the unsafe condition and did not take measures to remedy the situation. And the premises did not have warning signs of the potential danger. Premises liability cases include a wide range of situations, including slip and fall accidents, trip and fall accidents, inadequate lighting, negligent security, dangerous stairwell or stairwell conditions, supermarket and retail store accidents, train and subway accidents, snow and ice accidents, falling objects, elevator accidents, such as falling in an empty shaft, tripping, and more, malfunctioning equipment on the premises, dog bites, exposure to toxic chemicals, toxic mold, fires and explosions, inadequate maintenance, swimming pool accidents, amusement park accidents, drowning accidents, parking lot slip and falls, negligent road design, and roadway negligence. In a slip and fall accident, a victim falls backwards as a result of slipping on something slippery or wet on the ground, or falling due to shifting ground material or an unbalancing factor. In a trip and fall accident, a victim falls forward as a result of failing to step all the way over something that's hard or fixed, or getting a foot caught on an object. While a slip and fall accident typically leads to injuries on the face, knees, chest, or wrists, a trip and fall accident causes injuries to the back, tailbone, or back of the head. It's important to determine the distinction between the two types of premises accidents because keeping the details of the story straight plays a key role in court testimony. To determine which type of accident you suffered, contact an experienced attorney to review the details of your case. At Spar Bernstein, we offer a free initial consultation to review your case and recommend next steps. Oh, hello again. So no matter your immigration status, you possess rights. Even undocumented immigrants retain the right to pursue compensation in the event they are injured in a premises accident here in New York. So if you or a loved one are injured in an accident, contact us for a free, no-charge case review with our seasoned personal injury attorneys. Reach out to us by calling 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-LAW-LINK. Your well-being is important, and we're here to guide you through the legal proceedings. All right, we are ready for social media check-in. Let's do it. Oh, hello there. Making myself laugh. Let's go to VIP questions first. This is the questions from our Facebook VIP, very important people page. Those people who follow and are joining our group at Brad Show Live. They get their first questions asked in our social media check-in. Aaron Ram has a question. I would like to know if there is a possibility to fix my residency with a simple possession misdemeanor for marijuana in 2005. I entered the U.S. twice, once in 94, once again in 2000. The answer is yes, as long as it was less than 30 grams. Marilyn Thompson, can an 18-year-old seek asylum on his visitor's visa? Yes, an 18-year-old is considered an adult for asylum. Dion D, can a U.S. citizen apply for a U.S. visa for a parent instead of a green card? Parents just want to visit. Well, a U.S. citizen would not apply for a visa. The parents would apply for a visa. The U.S. citizen, they can go visit the U.S. citizen, but it's the parents who would be doing it. The answer is yes, if they want to. Dewey asks a question. I live in Colorado, and I'm trying to get my girlfriend over here on a K-1 fiance visa. I've worked in the cannabis industry for the last 5 years and recently saw a lawyer to start the process. She informed me that I couldn't put down the cannabis industry as my main source of income. My fiance could be barred for life. I would love to know if I have any options. As long as your fiance is not in the cannabis industry, and as long as she is not in the transportation of marijuana or the sale of marijuana, I don't see why what you do for a living would impact her, although certainly it could be dicey. But, you know, it's one thing if you say she's going to come work with me. Yeah, it would be a problem. But if she has nothing to do with it, then she has nothing to do with it. And finally, Pinoy Pianoman. And the reason is this. Even though it's a legal state, it's not legal federal. And there's a federal law that says that if you are a trafficking, or which is basically having an economic gain from the sale of illicit drugs, you're considered a drug trafficker, which would bar her for life. But she's not. What is her gain? She's just married to you. She's not doing anything. It would be like if you were selling cocaine illegally and you're married to this woman. You get arrested. She doesn't get arrested. She has nothing to do with it. All right, last question from Pinoy Pianoman. I'm 64 years old and I've worked for a cruise line for 21 years as a piano bar entertainer. I'm healthy, very active. I learned of the rules of international maritime law that seafarers can only work on board a ship up to 67 years of age. So my question is, I would like to work on a land base in the U.S. and if opportunity will allow, get a work permit, social security number, and stay. My daughter is currently U.S. on a J-2 visa and has been approved to get a work permit. I live in the Philippines. Am I qualified? I don't know any work visa for lounge singer, unfortunately, although I'm sure you're a very good singer. You would have to wait on your daughter to become a citizen to sponsor you, no matter how active and healthy you are. All right, so let's go to our let's go to our questions and answers. Let's see our questions and answers. What am I saying? Let's go to our comments and let me see what your questions are, and let me see if I can give you an answer. We'll start with Biggs Mill. If I was arrested for a misdemeanor and was dismissed, will it affect my marriage? It always affects an adjustment of status. Every arrest would affect adjustment of status, even when it was dismissed. But if it was ultimately dismissed, you should get a green card. Why it affects it is because you got to still show good moral character. Darryl Winnabow, how long after I send an RFE for medical can I get approved for the I-35? I-130 already approved. Hopefully within 120 days or less. IK Bali. Hi, Brad. I'm a permanent resident since 2006. I'm going to apply for this citizenship, but I have a battery and a misdemeanor charge in 2008. Can I still apply? Yes, presumably you have good moral character, but hopefully you're not deportable, so I would need to review everything first. Squeegee. Hi, Brad. I filed my adjustment, cancellation, removal via immigration court. I filed for my work permit in February 2023. I had my fingerprints in March of 2023. The status of my work permit. I guess, when are you going to get your work permit? I have no idea. I would need to see what your... Oh, there's more. My work permit has only been showing updated for fingerprints. Any idea why C-10 work permits are taking so long to process? No, I don't know in your particular case why you didn't get it, but maybe, I don't know, if you're like a squeegee guy on the street, maybe you got arrested once or twice for being the squeegee guy on the street and that's causing a delay. I don't know. I just saw your name Squeegee. I have no idea. I would need to see your records and see. I don't know why your work permit is delayed, but there's obviously a reason behind it. Hawa. Hi, Brad. I have asylum pending since 2017. My work permit gets expired in December. When do I need to apply for renewal? Also, what fee should include in the rules? And I do need to include the biometric fee. This is going to be the 4th time renewal, and only for the initial EAD I did biometric. You don't need to do a biometric again. You should file 120 days before. Carlene McLean. Hi, Brad. I got my green card March of 2021. When can I apply? And by the way, there's a new filing fee for the work permit. I honestly don't remember the filing fee off the top of my head. Hi, Brad. I got my green card March of 2021. When can I apply for my U.S. citizenship? If you got it through bona fide marriage and you remain in a bona fide marriage now. If you got it through any other way, January of 2026. YouTuber. I'm 33 years old. My mom is a green card holder. My brother is a U.S. citizen. Can I expedite my immigration case instead of waiting 10 years? You're not going to be able to expedite that. John, traveled back to my home country after asylum denial and their N-400 coming up based on employment. Should N-400 be withdrawn? I would certainly have a discussion. You don't have to withdraw it, but certainly have a discussion with an attorney on how to answer those questions on why you went back for your home country after applying for asylum, even though you got your green card some other way. Funny Camp. Sir, my friend lost his F1 status by SEVIS about 1 year ago, so if he leaves the USA now, will it be a problem for him? Yes, he has a 10-year bar. He-Min. Hi, Brad. I'm living in the state without documents, and I wonder if my mom and brother apply for a U.S. visa, will they get denied? Yes. I answered that question. I don't know if it was the same person, but I answered that question a few minutes ago. Hello, Uncle Brad. I'm a green card holder. I'm currently forced to spend a lot of time overseas. I currently spend 4 months away and 1 month in the U.S. and then leave again. I never leave for more than 6 months. My intent in my home is in the USA. I always file my taxes. I know I cannot become a citizen, but am I at risk of being accused of abandoning my status? You're always at risk if you're spending more time out of the U.S. than in. Can I ask for AP with withholding removal? I guess advanced parole? No, you cannot. Christina. Good evening, Brad. Is it possible to apply for a visitor's visa while being filed for? You can, but it's unlikely to get approved. Domain, I married my wife. She went home. How can I file for her? An I-130 visa petition. Sunny, such a big question. My entire face is blocked. My name is Sunny. I'm a person with albinism. I came into contact with a family who adopted me by heart over 4 years ago and sponsored me throughout the college. Recently, due to hardship in Nigeria, we began looking ways to at least pay them a visit, or at least physically meet. We're in the process of talking to a church to help with the R1, where I take the risk and apply for B1. I was on Instagram and came across you. I'd like to have a proper consultation. Yeah, you got to call me. I don't know what your question is. Alicia, what happens if you get stuck in the USA during COVID? No excuse. You got stuck, you got stuck. You violated your visa, you violated your visa. Christina Francis, also with a big question. All you see is the top of my head, bald head. I have an absentia removal at the immigration court, waiting removal proceedings to be terminated. My 485 was approved. I've received my green card in the mail. I have travel scheduled at the end of April. My late dad burial. Lawyer advised not to travel yet. He thinks I should be fine if I decide to travel while waiting on removal proceedings to be terminated, but cannot guarantee there won't be any issues. Should I travel or should I just cancel my plans until it's terminated? I guess you had an inadmissibility proceeding and then filed an adjustment and a waiver. I presume that's what happened. I would need to know more before I advise you whether to travel or not. Nita, hello. How long sponsorships for green card holder to sponsor undermarriage child under 21 old and spouse? 3 years. Also a big question. Okasisi with a question. Please, sir, can you please give me your opinion on this? Can a 10-year green card and travel to Canada for 8 days and enter the USA? My passport and green card was taken to a room where I was asked several questions about my marriage, job, parents, how I entered the USA. After the same minutes I was given my passport and green card, please, what do you think may be the issue for the secondary inspection? I don't know, but we can get to the bottom of it. I don't know why. But we need to get to the bottom of it so you don't have that problem every time. Katie, hey, Brad, I want to file for my unmarried daughter over 21. What paperwork should I submit? I-130 visa petition. That's what you should submit, a copy of your birth certificate. And she has a 3-year-old child. What should I submit for that child? Your grandchild's birth certificate. Ola G. Hey, Brad, how long should I wait before writing USCIS about my green card? 3 years, 1 month for VAWA application. VAWA was approved more than a year. All forms are filed on the same day. I would start writing now. It's been more than a year. Let's see if there's any questions on Brad Show Live Instagram. I'm starting with, actually on, what am I on? I'm on Real Brad Bernstein Instagram. Let's see if there's any questions. Oh, I just opened and closed it, so I lost all my questions. All right. We'll come back in a little bit. Note to Brad, don't open and close because then you lose all your questions. The dream. Can an undocumented person travel to Florida? Yep. Enjoy the dream. Serena, Mountain Summit. Hey, Brad, is there any way for an undocumented person to get petitioned for without going back home? What if your sis is a U.S. citizen? Your sis can file for you if you're 245I. You'll adjust your status. And there's a couple of ways if you're undocumented to get your green card. You need to have a consultation. What if you haven't met and fallen in love? Can you get married to a U.S. citizen? So you can't get married to a U.S. citizen. Well, keep falling, looking for love. Hey, Dave D. Hi, if I get expungement, can I apply for my citizenship? Expungement, no, does not terminate your criminal case. It still exists for immigration purposes. All right, we're going to do 2 more questions. Online mourning. What can be done for asylum application 7 years with no interview yet? Pre-litigation mandamus. Call me. We've had a lot of success with that. Gustavo, Brad, I had an interview in August 2023 for my green card EB case. The case couldn't be approved because of visa retrogression. The priority is current now, January 2024, but no decision. What can be done? I would write immigration and ask what's happening. Let's see what's going on Real Brad Bernstein. We have a few questions here. This the most recent ones I see. Pisha, hi, Brad. Can I go to the U.S. on a visitor's visa and get married to my boyfriend who's on an F1 visa, live there with him as long as he's there? And what form do I have? You can come on a visitor's visa. You still have to wait 90 days. Then you can get married. Yes, you could live with him. You would file an I-539 and you would get F2 status. And the answer is yes, but you got to do it in the right way. Candides, I'm an unmarried child of a resident. My father and family were filed for by his sibling. I aged out by the time the green cards were approved. How can I adjust my status? You would need to have a consultation with me so we can figure it out. And lastly, on real Brad Bernstein, I was on an H-2B visa for the winter and was getting a summer extension. I have until the 5th of April to leave the country. I got married to a U.S. citizen 6 months ago. Can I still work until? Yes. And you don't need to leave if you're married to a U.S. citizen. You can adjust your status. So you don't need to leave at all. And yes, you can continue to work. All right. And Tout, I'll answer one more on real Brad Bernstein. I just got in my green card application for asylum approval. When's it likely for my green card to be out? Hopefully in 120 days. All right. And let's see what's going on Brad Show Live. Let's see if I can answer any questions there quickly. I got to wait for some questions to pop up. I'll do MEX quickly. MEX is a U.S. petition. If a U.S. citizen petition married child, will it affect the derivative beneficiaries if they apply for non-immigrant visas? If a U.S. citizen petitions a married child, will it affect the derivative beneficiaries if they? Yes, of course it would. All right, event catering with a question. Hi, Brad. This is on Brad Show Live Instagram. Hi, Brad. My case is in VAWA. I sent the payment for renewal, but immigration sent the payment back. Now my permit is up. What does that mean? It means that you don't need to pay for EAD renewals anymore if you're VAWA. So they just sent your payment back and they'll process the EAD without the payment. And Olabi with a question on Brad Show Live Instagram. Hi, Brad. I've been in the USA for 7 years, but my marriage is 21 months now. My case, however, is actively being reviewed. Do I get a 10-year green card? If it's approved after 24 months of marriage, yes. So if it's still pending for 3 more months, the answer is yes. You would get a 10-year green card because you get the 10-year green card based on how long you've been married, not how long you've been in the United States of America. So that's the end of our social media check-in. So recent developments in the Gambia have sparked controversy as the country's parliament debates overturning a ban on female genital mutilation, which has been in place since 2015. And protests erupted outside the parliament as lawmakers considered bills seeking to decriminalize the practice, with conflicting views emerging from religious groups and human rights advocates. Our correspondent, Vanessa Contreras, spoke with Shannon LaGuerre-Maingrette, a partner and immigration attorney at the law offices of Spar Bernstein, regarding a successful cancellation removal case related to female genital mutilation. And please note that the discussion contains graphic content and viewer discretion is certainly advised, as it may be triggering for some individuals.
Hi, Brad Squad. Vanessa Contreras here with Spar Bernstein, partner and immigration attorney Shannon LaGuerre-Maingrette, to discuss a particularly complicated case in which she prevailed and secured 2 of her clients their green cards. This case involves the practice of female circumcision or female genital mutilation, which, according to a recent report by the United Nations Population Fund, is practiced in 31 countries in Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. Shannon, what was the situation in this case?
We had a couple that came in 2011 and basically met with Brad. Brad assigned the case to me. And the case basically was for filing an asylum application. The couple had been here since 2001, 2002. It was 2011 then, so it's a late filed asylum application. So just so everyone knows, you usually have 1 year to be able, within the time that you first came in from your first date of entry, to file an asylum application. So we're filing it late, clearly. And the reason why is because the wife is from Guinea. They tried to do the female genital mutilation when she was 3 years old. And then at 5 years old, they tried again with her and her sister. Sister ends up dying. The way that they do it in certain countries is that the entire village brings the girls together and they do almost like a rite of passage. So it's a ceremony, it's a ritual. And so they have all the girls together one by one. They basically perform this female genital mutilation. And for those who don't know, the female genital mutilation is that you are basically taking off, and it depends on what country you're in, depends on the village. You are using anything from a piece of glass to a knife to remove the clitoris, and then they sew you back up. So they do it with young girls as young as this, no anesthesia. I mean, these are in remote villages sometimes that are happening. And so basically, when her sister ended up dying, the whole process ended up stopping for the day. And then her parents at that point were like, you know what, we're not going to do this any longer. And she ends up hiding throughout the country so she doesn't have this done to her, and ultimately comes to the United States where she feels safe and secure, ends up having 2 daughters with her husband, and her family and also his family is asking for the 2 daughters to have this female circumcision or female genital mutilation done, because as girls, as part of this tradition that they should have it done. And at that point, that's why they came in, and we filed the asylum application late, basically stating that there were changed circumstances, and those changed circumstances was the fact that they now had 2 daughters that were being threatened to have this particular female circumcision done to them.
Can you just share with us culturally, why is this a practice?
The problem is that in a lot of these cultures, if you don't have it done, the woman is subject to rape, okay? They are not marriage material, so they cannot get married if they don't have this done. They almost become less than in their community. It's a rite of passage. It's an honor to have your daughter have this done. And interestingly enough, even though men certainly are like, yes, they should have it done, but women, the older women, are pushing this because they understand how this can affect a girl later on in life. And it's almost like, we want to protect you, so have this done. So culturally, that's why it's done. And a lot of times religiously, women feel that this is what they should do, and in order to protect their virtue. And so at that point, basically, they allude to the fact that it's in the Quran, but in actuality, it's not in the Quran. You have many countries who are trying their best to educate girls and women and men about really the fatalities that have existed, that have emanated from this practice.
Now, even if a girl survives the initial circumcision, what are the long-term health effects?
So many times it's hard to imagine, but hard to urinate, hard to really enjoy sex. When you have your monthly menstruation, it is beyond painful. Physically, things that would be normal to be able to do becomes extremely excruciating pain. And so, yes, those are things that happen. Birth, of course, is difficult.
So now, Shannon, in this case, your client's husband was against his daughters being circumcised.
Correct. The main person was the wife. She was the principal applicant that was submitting the asylum application. Her husband was going to benefit from the asylum application. However, husband also was married before and had daughters before these children that were born in the US. And these daughters also had female genital mutilation performed, and he was against it. But even as the man of the family, even as the head of his household, you know, the village elders held more power than he did. And so although he would say, no, I don't want them to have it done, I've seen what the ramifications are, the village elders still prevailed. He didn't want any other children of his to have it done. And that's why he was so against it when he had these daughters born in the United States.
What type of case did you file in immigration court on behalf of the couple?
When they came in 2011, we filed an I-589, which is an application for asylum, with the asylum office. The asylum office basically had an interview. And at that interview, they did find them credible and consistent in their testimony, but indicated that they did not believe that they met the exception for changed circumstances. Because by the time we filed the application for asylum, their daughters were much older. They were like 9 and 10 years old, if I recall correctly. So they felt that we did not file within that 1 year of them basically being threatened. So they just felt that it was too long. And so they ultimately ended up being referred to immigration court. When we went to immigration court, Then at that point, we submitted the asylum application and said that we are now saying that they need to be protected because their daughters are being forced to come back home to have this performed. And we want to protect the entire family. But I also filed an application for what they call cancellation of removal, which is basically this couple had been here for 10 years. So they've been living in the United States for 10 years. Now they have a notice to appear in immigration court. And we needed to show and demonstrate that the children, the US citizen daughters, would suffer exceptional and extremely unusual hardship if their parents were deported. So 2 applications were submitted to the immigration court.
Shannon, with that being said, what was the court's response?
So at that point, the court accepted both applications, and I indicated that I was going to argue for both relief, really. So they can either A, get the asylum approved or withholding of removal or convention against torture, but we were aiming for the asylum. We felt that we had met the burden of filing late, that there was a good cause for filing late, and so that we were pushing for the asylum, but also for the cancellation of removal. Most immigrants know it as the 10-year rule, but cancellation of removal is the most difficult way to get the green card in immigration court. So of course, this was in 2012 when we ended up in court. We went to court many times and we ended up having hearings that were canceled. And as most people know who are in immigration court, let's say they don't have a hearing today, you're not going to get a hearing for another year or 2 sometimes. So again, we didn't go into court to have our case heard until 2019. And so we appeared in court in 2019 and had our case heard. And so much had happened. Can you imagine between 2011 to 2019, Guinea ended up banning the practice of female genital mutilation in 2016. As wonderful as a situation that is, because it's a good thing to ban this with such tremendous heartbreak for so many women and girls. And in 2019, the government attorney went after us and was indicating that, why is this an issue? This is a moot point now. I mean, this doesn't exist in the country. And my argument was that, no, it does exist. Just because the government has basically outlawed it and has said that you will be penalized for it doesn't mean that people are still not doing it, because it's so ingrained in the society. So many people feel like you need to do it. Again, we understand that the government is saying that we can be penalized, but a lot of people were still continuing the practice, especially in these remote villages, which was where my clients were from. And so that was my argument.
All right, so we're going to watch the second half of Vanessa and Shannon's discussion on our next show. And of course, stay tuned for further updates on this crucial issue. All right, so we've come towards the end of our show, and this is So as I was saying, we have come to the end of our show, and now I have some game challenge of my own as we get into excuse me, Jill. Mute. As I said, mute. There you go. They can't do it. Everyone has to stop typing and talking. So now I have a game challenge of my own as we get into social media speed round. I'm going to answer 10 questions in 50 seconds, or I'm going to get blown up. Let's do it. How long can a green card holder stay out of the U.S. per year? At least 6 months, no longer. If someone in the U.S. Army files for me, how long will it take? Same time. How long does a VAWA petition take to process? At least 3 years. Can an LP... Forget it. I already started 4 questions into it, and now the clock started. Might as well blow myself up. All right, now go. Give me the rest of the questions. Can an LPR with a recent misdemeanor travel out of the U.S. and re-enter? Maybe. It depends on the misdemeanor. How long for a green card after the I-130 and I-45 is approved? I don't know. You don't even let me finish the question. Does a green card holder need a visa to travel to Canada? Forget it. I deserve to be blown up. Forget it. All right, let's go to comments of the day. Blow me up and then we'll go to comments of the day. All right. I can't even finish reading the question. It goes fast and slow. All right, we got to work on that one. All right, let's go to comments of the day. We're going to have comments of the day. First comment of the day. Dana Thompson, Brad is my son's lawyer. I was one who recommended him to my son after looking at his reviews and listening to him a lot. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, Donna Thompson. Thank you very much. You know, Uncle Brad, very smart move. Send someone to get the birth certificate. Thank you very much. And last, Wheels, the entire University of Connecticut team is full of immigrants. That is very, very true. All right, so we have come to the end of our show. Thank you very much. Sorry for the technical difficulties at the end, but we will be back and we will fix our technical difficulties. For updates and when we will be live again, like and subscribe to Brad Show Live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can also find me at Brad Bernstein on Facebook, Real Brad Bernstein on Instagram, and Brad Bernstein Law on TikTok. Have a great evening, everybody. Sorry about the speed round. We'll get it settled for next week when you see me back here again. Thanks for watching. So, Sam, as part of the production, we have to say this disclaimer at the end of the show. Do you mind reading it for me?
Okay, but you know, Brad, I have to do everything around here.
Forget it. I'll do it. The proceeding was information only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spar and Bernstein Law Firm, located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easy to remember, 1-800-LAW-LINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spar and Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spar and Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-529-5465. And visit us now at our Connecticut office, 221 Main Street, Suite 501, Hartford, Connecticut. Visit us in Connecticut or in New York at 225 Broadway. That's 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-LAW-LINK, 1-800-529-5465.